So I had taken a couple months off all this renovation, and really the final step I had to deal with was the shower. So I thought now that it's winter, I'd start picking up the work on this again. The shower pan I put in earlier, and I had all the rough plumbing coming through here. This comes from the other side of the wall, and there's a shut-off valve in the closet on the other side of the wall there. But what I did here today is install the mixing valve. So whenever this is all finished, that's where your little handle goes to make it hot or cold. And then the shower, I guess, arm is what you'd call that. And I didn't think ahead of time when I put all this together. I could shut all this water off if I wanted to, but I wanted to have a way just to turn it off here. So I just put this little temporary plastic ball valve on, and of course it leaks. It leaks from the inside the valve here. None of the fittings I have are leaking. They're all nice and tight. So I got a little bit of a drip there, but it drips into a bucket or it drips into a dog, one or the other. It drips down here, and that's no big deal. I ordered the Kerdi Board, which is the synthetic material that goes on the walls here against the studs, like the waterproofing panels. But there's, of course, supply chain issues, so it's going to be a couple weeks before I get those. But once I have those and those go up, then I'll put the tile on the outside of those, and I got to do all the tile around here and around these windows, and that part will take forever. But what I did here today was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And I guess it's good that I have to wait for the Kerdi Board, because just in case, right now nothing is leaking, but who knows, over time I could watch this for the next week or two and just make sure everything remains nice and dry before I wall it up. And if I ever did have a leak here, if I had to replace this valve, all this rigmarole you see here, that's because I put in this access panel. This door comes out, and then this way I could get to that valve and those fittings from the wall here, because of course once I tile up all this stuff, you're not going to want to bust that open to get to those things. So that's what we got so far. Next up is Kerdi Board, hopefully in another couple weeks. So I finally got the Kerdi Board. It's a pretty neat material. It has a real good feel to it. It's like a really compressed foam with watertight membranes on both sides, and you basically just mount it to the studs with special hardware, and then there's like a membrane you put over the seams, almost like a drywall tape kind of a thing, and that keeps it watertight. But I'm not sure I bought enough. I bought 8 sheets of this, and if I don't have enough, then I'll just do like the main walls. And then maybe like up top here, if I run out, I could just use mold resistant drywall up there. Because a normal bathtub is only going to have drywall up there anyways. And this wall here may not even get wet. So I may just do like 1 sheet. I don't know. See if I can make it work and make it fit. And then framed out the space for the niche. And what's nice is that they make a already watertight form-fitted thing here. So all you have to do is put the tile inside it. And then this will go right in here, like that. So got that in the center more or less. So you have a shelf there, shelf on the windowsill, and if you really got down to it, you'd have 2 shelves up here once that's all done as well. So I'm going to get this board up and see how it turns out. Alright, so I got the Kerdi Board up in the shower. I think it turned out okay for the most part. You can see I got the ventilation windows covered. I'm not going to put it on the inside here. I'm just going to put the tile directly to that. Water comes this a ways, so I think that'll be fine. But yeah, those are in. The niche is all set. That turned out pretty good. Around the window framing, turned out well. Water could possibly hit this way, so I wanted to make sure I used it on this stuff. The only was a couple of problems, but the biggest one is I ran out like I thought I would. I had almost enough to finish it, so I had to use a piece of plywood up there, but that's very unlikely to ever get wet. Most water is going to come down here this way, so I'm not so worried about that. What you do is there's a waterproof membrane that you got to cover up all of these fittings, and then you cover the seams with it as well. So if I have any leftover membrane, I'll just put that across this piece of wood just to be on the safe side. But it's going to get waterproof tile put on top of it anyways, so I'm not too concerned about it. Alright, so I got the water sealing membrane stuff applied. This is all a special kind of mortar for it. And I think I used more than I needed to. So I'm a little bit worried that when this dries, this will be dusty. And the tile that I have uses an adhesive that sticks to the wall. It's a plastic kind of almost like a flooring material. And I'm worried that's not going to adhere to this too well. I talked to the company that makes the tile and they say that it will, but I don't know. I'm going to probably just take a shop vac once this all dries and vac up all the loose little bits. And it's large tile. It's like 12 inches by almost 24 inches. So it'll cover, you know, it'll be on this stuff most of the time. Of course, I ran out of mortar, and so I used this adhesive silicone kind of stuff that the company that makes these boards provides that you put down along the base. So I put it all along the base to adhere it to the pan, and had some left over, so I used that for those fittings. To cover up those fittings. I saw a guy online that says that's a better way to do it anyways. So that's all good to go. Oh, look at that. Comes in to say hi. You want to take a shower? I don't think so. I don't think so, kid. So yeah, I'm going to get the tile eventually. It'll be a little while. What are you doing in here? Weirdo. Come on, get out of here. I'm going to get the tile. He's so mad. I'll get the tile eventually. It'll be a couple months probably. I don't know. Who knows when. And see how it turns out. But you're really curious. All these different smells in here. Alright then. That's it for now. Well, the tile came in the mail yesterday, and I got started on it today. The way this stuff works is there's a tongue and groove assembly like that. Kind of snaps in place. Put a little bit of silicone in there before you set it down. And then it goes against the wall with a special kind of adhesive. I've actually run out of that for today, so I need to get some more of that tomorrow. So I'm just kind of stopping. And there's trim pieces that you put up first, and everything slides into the trim pieces. So you can kind of see how it looks so far. I've got almost 3 walls done. This finish kind of looks like cement, really, but you can see the trim pieces in the corner give you a nice finish, and all of that is adhered with silicone. Got a little bit of a thing with the window. There's going to be a different tile that goes here that'll bring it up flush with that, and I'll probably just fill that in. I didn't want to cut it because it would have looked odd. Long story, don't worry about it. But anyways, yeah, it's coming along pretty good. There'll be a different kind of tile that goes into the nook and the window, different color. Same thing up here, there'll be different color inside there. But this is kind of where I left off for now. And then there'll be a tile here, and there's a corner edge, an outside edge corner that goes on here as well for trim to cover that up. But all in all, I think it looks okay. I bought this stuff not knowing what it looked like in person, and when I opened up the box, I was a little bit disappointed in the color of it. It does really look like cinder blocks. I mean, this whole thing kind of looks like a little prison cell. So it's a bit awkward like that, but it's okay. So I'm about 3/4 of the way done with this whole shower, and when I was doing the tile inside these windows, I ran into an issue, and I wish I never even put these ventilation windows in the first place. They've become more of a problem than they're actually going to be worth and a benefit. I just don't like them, but they're here and I can't change that. There's going to be a frame around this to cover this gap anyway, so I'm not so worried about it here. The trouble is, on the outside, I put this frame up before I did anything else. So when I did it, I didn't take into consideration the gap of the thickness of the tile. So there's an ugly gap, especially over here. It's really just looks like garbage. So before I do anything else, I got to pull these frames off, this wood, take this off. I'm going to have to sand and repaint all of this because it'll all be crappy underneath here. And then I'm going to put in a new frame that's going to be tighter, so it'll have like a 1/2 inch lip on the inside. The other reason I'm doing that is so things don't just fly out of here. Like if you use this as a shelf, which was part of the original thought, if this is a shelf and you put a bottle of shampoo here, it's just going to topple over into the other side. It's slanted, so water goes down there, but even still, it's going to happen. So that'll give a little bit of a lip to keep that from happening, and then it'll definitely make it look nicer. So big pain in the butt, but I got to do that next before I do anything else. Well, we're all finished with the shower. So everything turned out pretty well. Don't like those windows in principle, but they're there and they don't look too bad. They'll do the job. Like before, that's an access panel to get into the controls in case anything leaks or needs replaced. Got a small little curb put in, and then the trim goes all the way around to keep the tile in place. Put the trim along the ceiling as well. Window turned out pretty good. You can see there's a different kind of tile in the window. Kind of wish I used that for the whole thing. I think it looks nicer than the more plain stuff that I ordered. The nook turned out well. I was going to put a plastic frame around here with the same stuff as the trim, but it looked terrible, and I thought that it would just attract gunk and stuff being raised from the wall. So I just used gray silicone to sort of make a frame. I taped it off to make it look as square as possible. So that's good. Same thing on the windows up there on the inside. I used the same kind of gray silicone. So those are all pretty good. Got the trim along the corner, looks nice and clean. Towel on that edge as well. And then the shower head installed. I think it's good. I never installed this kind of mechanism before, and I think I did it right. I tested it out just briefly here, and everything seems to be working. It's got a detachable thing here. I haven't actually used the shower properly, so I don't know if I need a shower curtain there or not. The way the water comes down, I think I probably won't need one, but if I do, it's very easy to just put a little shower curtain in. Pan is nice. I made sure the drain worked, so everything drains well. I got the silicone all along the edge. Turned out pretty nice looking, I think. The shower pan is real nice and solid. It's got cement under it, so it's not going anywhere. Looks nice and shiny. But all in all, I think it turned out good for the first time building a shower. As long as I don't end up with some weird leaks or some plumbing issues down the line, which I may. Who knows, I could have screwed up in many different places here. But if I don't have any problems with that kind of stuff, then I think it looks good. Not so bad for a first timer. I don't know about these windows. I don't like them, but they're there. So they'll give a little bit of light and a little bit of added ventilation. And they serve as some extra shelves. You know, you can put stuff on the windowsill if you need to. The nook, and then you got those two up there as well if you want. So there you have it. This is really the final step of this whole renovation. The whole barn and all that stuff. If you remember way back to the other videos, there was a garage door right there that went outside. So this is it. This whole thing is done. I don't want to be dealing with anything else in this part of the house for a very long time. So putting a punctuation mark on it. That's it.